Brahmanda Purana Introduction Part 3. Religion and Philosophy in Brahmanda Purana. Vedanta. In the Mangala Charana benedictory verses at the beginning of the Brahmanda Purana, the author pays obeisance to the omnipresent self-born deity called Lord Hari, who in his threefold form representing Rajas, Sattva and Tamas creates, sustains and annihilates the universe. Vishnu assumes these forms. He possesses three gunas and is yet devoid of them. He is endowed with unparalleled knowledge, detachment, superhuman power and dharma. Restoring to yoga, he created the world of mobile and immobile beings. Later, the creation of the universe from Prakriti is called a Vivarta of Brahman and not Parinam of the Sankhya. The Brahman has neither beginning nor end. It is unborn, subtle, incomprehensible, beyond both Sat and Asat, existence and non-existence. It is the source of the world. In concluding the Purana, he pays homage to that primordial deity whose description is like that of the Purusha in the Purusha Shukta. It is the Puranic way of presenting the Vedanta. Sankhya. Kapila, the founder of the Sankhya school, is said to be one of the 7 sons of God Brahma and a brother of Asuri and Panchashika, other ancient teachers of this school and Kapila's followers. He is called Paramarshi, as intellectually he comprehends, who is still unmanifest, simultaneously with its manifestation. This epithet is preceded by the description of the evolution of the universe, which is the same as in 1.1 chapters 3, 4 and 5. Brahmanda Purana uses Ishvara Krishna's terms and process of evolution of the universe in the Sankhya Karika. For example, the state of equilibrium of gunas, the creation of Mahat, Ahamkara, cosmic ego, the elements, bhutas, sense organs, but it posits the presence and power of Vishnu for this, while Ishvara Krishna is an atheist. The gunas Sattva, Rajas and Tamas are personified by Vishnu, Brahman and Rudra. This is theistic Sankhya, probably posterior to Ishvara Krishna, circa 300 AD. Yoga. Yoga as a philosophy is not directly discussed in the Brahmanda Purana, but the importance of yoga is stressed everywhere. Vishnu created the world through his power of yoga. In inviting Brahmanas for Sridhara, a yogi has a precedence over learned Brahmanas. A guest at the time of Shraddha should be received as masters of yoga, move in different forms to guide people in dharma. The path of yoga through pranayama, pratyahara, etc. is regarded as undoubtedly the means to moksha. Bhakti. In Brahmanda Purana 2.3.34.37 to 41, we are told that due to lack of bhakti, Parashurama was unable to master the Krishna Kavacha. There, bhakti is classified as follows. 1. Uttama, the best one. The devotees in this class are Shiva, Narada, Shuka, Ambarisha, Rantideva, Maruti, Bali, Vibhishana, Prahlada, Uddhava, and last but not the least, gopis of Braj. Many of these bhaktas are included in Narada Bhakti Sutra 83, but That Bhakti Sutra rates the bhakti of gopis as the sincere most. 2. Madhyama, the middle class, Vasishtha and other sages, Manu and the like of him, and Parashurama. 3. Prakrita, common of ordinary people, or Kanishta, lowest. Tantra, the anachronism of bringing in Krishna and Radha in Parashurama legend shows its interpolatory nature, but it is the tantric cult in which Krishna and Radha are used for mantra, kavacha, etc. that is important here. God Brahma advises Parashurama to secure them from God Shiva. The whole chapter is tantric. The mantra is the core of Tantra Shastra, and Krishna mantra of 10 syllables given to Parashurama is Gopijana Vallabhaya Vanhijaya. The sage of this mantra is Sadashiva. Pankti is the meter, Krishna is the deity, and its utilization is for the achievement of everything. The mantra is followed by Kavacha, protective charm with mystical syllables called Trailokya Vijaya, imploring Lord Krishna to protect different parts of the body everywhere under all circumstances. Accompanied with mystic syllables like Pranav, Mayavij, a number of epithets of Krishna express his close association with Radha. Later, a stotra called Krishnamrita Stotra, a series of 108 epithets of Krishna reported to have been recited by Shesha, is narrated by Agastya to Parashurama. The epithets cover all the episodes in the life of Krishna, and the importance of this stotra is described at the end of that chapter. Parashurama recited the stotra, and when Krishna manifested himself, he devoutly prayed him with another stotra. When Lord Shiva implored Krishna to appease the wrath of goddess Uma at hacking down the task of Ganesha by Parashurama, both Radha and Krishna appear and bring about a peace. Parashurama is shown to praise them in Vedantic terms intermixed with Puranic episodes. These stotras may not be tantric, but they show the influence of Radha cult. The section of Lalita Mahatmya starts with a new Mangalacharana benedictory verses and a new pair of interlocutors, and the contains manifestation of goddess Lalita to kill the Asura Bhanda, her marriage with Kameshwara Shiva, glorification of the goddess Mahapadma and Kamakshi, etc., show that it is an independent work. But if Lalita Mahatmya is treated as an integral part of the Brahmanda Purana, Shakti worship with all its tantric details must have been prevalent at the time of inclusion of the Lalita Mahatmya in Brahmanda Purana. Other points, a few more points are remarkable. Ahimsa, though animal sacrifices are condemned on the ground of ahimsa, non-injury, which is regarded as the gateway to dharma, and though non-retaliation is recommended for sages aspiring for moksha, it is not a blind ahimsa. For Brahmanda Purana states, if by killing one, many can lead a happy life, there is no sin, major or minor, in killing him. Non-covetousness, the tirade against Trishna, covetousness in the traditional verses ascribed to King Yayati, need not be attributed to Buddhism, as this revulsion is expressed in Mahabharata, Vana, Shanti, and in other Puranas. Free will and determination. Brahmanda Purana raises the point whether one succeeds in one's efforts due to his Daiva, destiny, effort, or Swabhava, and decides that a combination of Daiva and human efforts yields fruit. Mahabharata, Shanti, and Matsya Purana for similar verses. The Parashurama legend. The legend of Parashurama and his exploits in killing the 1,000 armed Kartavirya Arjuna and dekshatrizing the earth 21 times is a favorite topic of Purana writers, as can be seen from the Brahmanda Purana 9.15 and 16, Padma Purana 6.241, Matsya Purana 43-44, Skanda Purana Revakhanda 218. The legend deserves special attention as our Purana has devoted 37 chapters, chapter 21 to 58 of the Upodghata Pada, and shown his connection with Sagara, king of Ayodhya, and encounter with Rama, the son of Dasharatha, of the same Ayodhya house. Though both Sagara and Rama, circa 2350 BC, were born many generations later, and with the reclamation of land from the sea from Gokarna in Karnataka to Cape Comorin in the south. The basic incident of the legend took place in the hoary antiquity circa BC 2550, and there is no unanimity in the account of the Puranas. The bare facts of the case appear as follows. Jamadagni's royal reception to King Kartavirya, raid on Jamadagni hermitage and manhandling him by officers of Kartavirya, Parashurama's killing Kartavirya in retaliation. As a revenge, Kartavirya's sons killed Jamadagni. 21 battles in which Parashurama defeated Haihaya allies. Our Purana magnifies Parashurama as an epic hero. The story begins after the Shraddha Kalpa procedures of performing Shraddha as follows. With the permission of his father, Parashurama visits his grandfather Richika and then his great grandfather, and so on till he visits Bhrigu, the founder of his family. Bhrigu advises him to propitiate Lord Shiva and obtain from him his missiles. Chapter 21. Accordingly, Parashurama performs penance on the Himalayas to propitiate Shiva. Chapter 22. Shiva, disguised as a hunter, tests Parashurama and is satisfied. He imparts the knowledge of secret missiles to Parashurama for killing demons, but advises him to go on pilgrimage and perform penance to attain ability to handle these weapons. Chapters 23 and 24. Parashurama kills a tiger in a Himalayan cave and saves a Brahmin boy safe and uninjured, and hence the boy is named Akrita Vrana. He becomes his permanent companion. Both of them return to Jamadagni's hermitage, Rama's home. Chapter 25. Kartavirya of Haihaya dynasty visits Jamadagni's hermitage and gets a royal reception and comfortable night halt to all his men and officers due to the power of Jamadagni's cow Kamadhenu. On his departure, the Haihaya king is instigated by his minister Chandragupta to confiscate the Kamadhenu. While Parashurama is away, Chandragupta returns, and in the scuffle that follows, Jamadagni is killed. The Kamadhenu flies away in the sky. Chandragupta returns with the calf to the king. Chapters 26 to 29. Parashurama's return and Renuka's lamentation, beating her breast 21 times. Parashurama's vow to annihilate Kshatriyas 21 times. Bhrigu visits the hermitage and revives Jamadagni. From Bhrigu's visit and resuscitation of Jamadagni to the end of chapter 39, the Brahmanda Purana adds new material, out of which some is anachronistic, not found in older Puranas. Parashurama consults God Brahma and discusses the strategy to kill Haihaya. Brahma directs him to God Shiva. Parashurama approaches Shiva propitiates him, and gets the secret of the perfect missile. Chapters 31 to 32. The protective mantra Kavacha is called Trailokya Vijaya, conquest of the three worlds. Chapter 33. The story of the male and female deer illustrating the fruit of the hymn called Krishna Prema Krishna Premamrita. Chapter 34. Parashurama goes to Agastya's hermitage and listens from him the hymn Krishna Premamrita. Chapters 35 to 36. Krishna, the future eighth incarnation of Vishnu, manifests himself to Parashurama, the sixth incarnation of Vishnu, and orders him to annihilate Kshatriyas 21 times, and in the 24th Treta Yuga, Krishna will incarnate as Rama, the seventh incarnation of Vishnu, in Raghu family with his four Vyuhas, and deprive Parashurama of his divine power. Bhargava sends a challenge to Kartavirya and kills him, but he, being an incarnation of the Sudarshana discus of Vishnu, reassumes his original form. Chapters 36 to 40. After carrying out his vow, Parashurama goes to Shiva to report his exploits, but is prevented by Ganesha to enter, as Shiva and Parvati were taking rest. Parashurama strikes Ganesha with his axe and cuts his tusk. Parvati strongly complains against this to Shiva and wants to leave for her father's house, but is conciliated by Radha. Radha is eulogized by Parashurama. This shows the predominance of Radha cult when this part of the Brahmanda Purana was interpolated despite its anachronic import. Returning to his father's hermitage, Parashurama reports his revenge on Kartavirya. Jamadagni advises him to perform penance for 12 years in atonement for his bloodshed. Parashurama departs, and in his absence, sons of Kartavirya kill Jamadagni, and Renuka too dies heartbroken. After completing his penance for 12 years, Parashurama learns how his father was killed. He recalls his divine charioteer and advances against Haihayas. Kartavirya's son Vitihotra hides and saves his life. Parashurama repeats the slaughter of Kshatriyas 21 times. In Kurukshetra, he fills 5 tanks with Kshatriya blood and performs Shraddha of his Pitras. His men appear in the sky, command him to desist from bloodshed and perform penance. Parashurama, though unmarried and unanointed as a king, performs a horse sacrifice, Hayamedha. And gives to Kashyapa all the earth except Mahendra mountain reserved for his residence. Thereafter, he quietly performs penance there. Chapters 41 to 43. The Sagara episode, chapters 44 to 50, intervenes here as follows. After Parashurama's retirement, Haihayas organize themselves and in alliance with warlike tribes like Shakas, Hunas and others, they assail Vahu, the king of Ayodhya, the ally of Bhargavas. Bahu flies and dies near Bhargava's hermitage. The footnote says, in fact, it was a fight for the control of Indo-Gangetic plain between kings of the north, the allies of Bhargavas, and the Haihaya kings. This intervention of Sagara episode is for explaining why Parashurama returns to active life and reclaims the land from the sea. Parashurama is approached by Brahmanas of Gokarna as, due to the excavation of the earth by Sagara's sons, the sea engulfed and drowned the holy place. Parashurama accompanies them and requests the sea god to recede and vacate the holy place Gokarna. Varuna, the sea god, does not respond. Parashurama angrily fixes an arrow to his bow to evaporate the whole ocean. Then only Varuna appears and concedes to vacate. Parashurama takes his ladle and facing the north throws it, and it goes and forms the Surparaka Tirtha Nala Sopara in Thana district of Maharashtra. Thus Parashurama reclaims a strip of land 600 yojanas in length. Chapters 57 to 58. As accompanied with older Puranas, this legend of Parashurama brings in many new elements as recorded above. The sources of these new extra episodes are obscure, but the legend of Parashurama, as amplified in the Brahmanda Purana, becomes the source of newer versions in later Puranic works like the Sahyadri Khanda, Datta Purana, Kerala Mahatmya, and the like. Some works like Parashurama Kalpasutra, Jamadagnya, Dhanurveda are attributed to him. The Parashurama legend raises a few problems of historical importance. We have to grope for the answer, as Parashurama probably belongs to the 3rd millennium BC. 2550 to 2350 BC is regarded as Parashurama period in Vedic age. We shall try to ascertain the facts which could be deduced from the conflicting Puranic evidence. Who were the Bhargavas? The name Bhrigu or Phrugus leads one to believe that they came from Phrygia in West Asia. The footnote says A.J. Karandikar states the Romans were a Bhargava people who migrated to the west after the fall of Troy. Vide Mahabharatachi Parshbhumi Parshvabhumi Intro pp 226. This migration must have taken place before the Vedic period. The Vedas credit the Bhrigus to have brought the fire from the heaven, and that they were performers of Soma sacrifice. They seem to be a martial people who participated in the famous Dasa Ragna war. They explored the technique of the use of fire in war, as a Bhargava sage Aurva is said to have been dissuaded by his Pitras, probably elderly people of his clan, to desist from perfecting his fire missile. They were advanced in medicine and surgery, and hence the Sanjivani Vidya, the lore of resuscitating the dead, is attributed to them. Shukra, a Bhargava preceptor of Asuras, is credited to have been restoring the dead Asuras to life, and gods sent Kacha, the son of their preceptor Brihaspati, to learn that lore from him. Our text Brahmanda Purana records that Bhrigu brought back to life Jamadagni. Some of them were Atharvan priests. Manu, a Bhargava, was a lawgiver. They were experts in arts and crafts, as they are mentioned as chariot builders. The word Bhargava came to mean a handicraftsman, a potter, archer, architect, and we can't presume that all of them could be Brahmanas. They were on the coast of Gujarat They were on the coast of Gujarat at the time of Parashurama, as his father is associated with Bhrigukacha brooch, from which they migrated to Madhya Desa due to the pressure of Hayas. Was Parashurama a Brahmana? Nobody has raised this point, but in Mahabharata Adi Parva 58.5 to 6, we are told that when all Kshatriyas were slaughtered by Parashurama, Kshatriya ladies went to Brahmanas, and the children born from them were the Kshatriyas of the new generation. If this is matriarchal system was then the accepted custom, Jamadagni, the son of a Kshatriya princess, must be regarded as a Kshatriya. He married Renuka, a Kshatriya princess of Ayodhya, and Parashurama is a full-blooded Kshatriya and not a Brahmana at all. The story of Richika's wife Jamadagni's Kshatriya mother eating up a portion of charu charged with a specific mantra meant for Richika's mother-in-law, the queen of Kanauj, is obviously intended as an apologetic explanation of the martial character of Parashurama, though a Brahmin. The fact is that the patriarchal system was well established in the days of Mahabharata, but to justify the refrain in the old ballad on Parashurama, which the Mahabharata, a Bhargava version, assimilated. The Kshatriya ladies were said to have been constrained to adopt the Niyoga method for the continuation of their families. To credit a man with span of active military leadership for 21 generations is historically absurd, and it shows the hollowness of the refrain if it is taken literally to be true, and complete genocide of Kshatriyas is not implied by the Puranas as shown below. The main point is that Parashurama was regarded as a Brahmana by the Mahabharata and Puranas, which took for granted the patriarchal system. Was Kshatriya Arjuna a villain? No. He was the greatest king of Narmada region. Even the Mahabharata, which is supposed to have been influenced, revised by Bhargavas, states that he was a pious king, respectful and friendly to Brahmanas, full of compassion to the needy, a thoroughly religious prince. The Narada Purana chapter 76 and 77 defy him, and his mantra and kavacha are regarded as very effective. Puranas tell us that he was blessed with 1,000 arms by Dattatreya. He was the sovereign ruler who conquered the earth and denoted it as Dakshina. The only fault committed by him was the raid on Jamadagni's hermitage when he and his entourage were given a royal reception by Jamadagni. Arjuna was a king of Mahishmati. Jamadagni was prominent Bhargava, whose hermitage was either in or on the border of Arjuna's kingdom. He knew how powerful was the Bhargava clan. Their matrimonial relations with his rival kings of Ayodhya, Kanauj, Kanyakubja, etc. Politically, it was not desirable to allow such an inimical center either in or near the borders of his kingdom. For many years, Bhargavas turned inimical since when his tax collectors harassed them and many fled for life, though they were on friendly terms during his father's reign. No sane ruler should allow such an economically powerful inimical center near his kingdom, even though he be given a rousing reception and treated with sumptuous banquets, etc. But he did not raid the ashrama. Even the Pro-Bhargava, Mahabharata and Itihasa record of facts does not hold him responsible for taking away the calf of Jamadagni's cow, not the cow as stated in other Puranas, but his sons did it without his knowledge. This is the oldest Pro-Bhargava account of the cause of Parashurama's action. Our Purana attributes consent of the king to his minister Chandragupta's plan of carrying away the cow, but Mahabharata recognizes Arjuna's ignorance and not even his assent on the matter, though that was the cause of his death. The Mahabharata, however, attributes his death to Apava, Vashishta's curse, Apava, Vashishta's curse, which turned the heads of his sons. Other Puranas offer different versions. The Brahmanda Purana, a Vaishnava Purana, attributes the order of taking away the cow to King Kartavirya. 9.15.26. Padma Purana 6.241.30 to 38 tells us that when King Kartavirya attempted to seize the cow, she, by the dint of her power, defeated his army, went out of sight, and approached Indra. The frustrated king, mad with rage, killed the sage by the blows of his fist. Skanda Purana 5, Revakhanda, chapter 218, describes the scuffle between Jamadagni and Kartavirya for the cow Kamadhenu, in which Jamadagni is killed. The lack of unanimity in the account of the Puranas is significant. Historical tradition in Brahmanda Purana. Although as a Mahapurana, Brahmanda Purana has treated the dynasties of Vaivasvata, Manu, the solar and lunar races, etc. This Purana, like the Matsya Purana 50.57 to 89, 271 to 273, Vayu Purana 99.250, 435, and Bhavishya Purana 3.1.3 and 6 Puranas, presents 8 successive dynasties of the rulers of Magadha since the Bharata War. It mentions not only the total number of years covered by each dynasty, but also the number of years each king of every dynasty reigned, details not given for any other kingdom. It is obviously due to the political importance of Magadha as a seat of imperial power, while the Puranas were in the formative stage. The author of Brahmanda Purana assumes that he writes the Purana in the reign of Senajit of the Brihadratha dynasty of Magadha, a contemporary of Adhisima Krishna of the Paurava dynasty and Divakara of the Solar dynasty of Ayodhya, and uses future tense to all the kings of all the dynasties who ruled after them. The details of dynasties that ruled over Magadha since the beginning of the Kali age are as follows. The Barhadratha dynasty. The footnote says the Arabic figures in bracket after the name of the king denote the number of years of the reign of that king. Jarasandha, Sahadeva, killed in the Bharata War. Somapi, 58. Shruta Shravas, 67. Ayutaya, 26. Niramitra, 100. Shukshatra, 56. Brihatkarma, 23. Senajit, the present ruler for Brahmanda Purana. The footnote says, as such, a long period is not normally possible. Some petty or insignificant rulers preceding him are not mentioned, and a consolidated period is probably allotted to his reign. Future rulers: Shrutanjaya, 40. Ripunjaya 35, Shuchi 58, Kshema 28, Suvrata 64, Dharmanetra 58, Susharma 38, Dridhasena 58, Sumati 33, Sunetra 40, Satyajit 83, Vishwajit 25, Arinjaya 50. These 22 Barhadratha kings ruled for 1000 years. Pradyota dynasty. According to Brahmanda Purana, Sunaka Pulaka in Matsya Purana, a minister of king Arinjaya or Ripunjaya killed his master and installed his son Pradyoti on the Magadhan throne. The following is the list of rulers of Pradyota dynasty. Pradyota 23, Palaka 24, Vishakha Yupa 50, Ajaka 21, Nandi Vardhana 20. Thus the 5 kings of Pradyota dynasty ruled over Magadha for 138 years. This account in the Purana is misleading. Pradyota or Chanda Pradyota, Vashavadatta's father and Udayana's father-in-law, ruled from Ujjaini, as has been attested by Bhasa in his plays and also in the Matsya Purana while describing future kings. This Pradyota was a contemporary of Bimbisara of Magadha according to Pali records, and there is no reliable evidence to presume a Pradyota dynasty in Magadha. Shishunaga dynasty. Shishunaga of Varanasi vanquished the Pradyota rulers and his son shifted his capital to Girivraja. The following were the rulers. Shishunaga 40, Kakavarna shifts his capital to Girivraja 63, Kshemadharman 20, Kshatraujas 40, Bidhisara Bimbisara 38, Ajatashatru 25, Darshaka 35, Udayin, the founder of Kusumapura, modern Patna, to the south of the Ganges, to the south of the Ganga 33, Nandi Vardhana 40, Mahanandi 43. There is a discrepancy in the total period of this dynasty with 360 years 5.134. Actually, it amounts to 377 years. The Puranas, including Brahmanda Purana, have distorted history. Vidisara, that is Bimbisara, Senia in the AMG canon, occupied the throne of Magadha immediately after Arinjaya, and that Shishunaga came a few generations after and not before Bimbisara. Nanda dynasty. Mahapadma Nanda, the son of Mahanandi from a Shudra woman, exterminator of all Kshatriyas, the sole emperor, Ekarat Ekachatra, ruled 88 years. 8 sons, one after another, ruled for 12 years. Total period of Nanda dynasty 100 years. Maurya dynasty. A Brahmin Kautilya will uproot Nandas and install Chandragupta Maurya as the king. Chandragupta 24, Bhadrasara Bindusara 25, Ashoka 36, Kunala 8, Bandhupalita 8, Indrapalita 10, Devavarma 7, Shatadhanu 8, Brihadratha 7. The number of regnal years of Bandhupalita and Shatadhanu are given as per emendation in the DKP 29, though Brahmanda Purana records 9 Mauryan kings. Matsya Purana 5p and Brahmanda Purana state that the total number of these kings are as 10. Sunga dynasty. Pushpamitra Pushya 0, 60 years, Agnimitra 8, Sujyesha 7, Vasumitra 10, Bhadra 2, Pulindaka 3, Ghosa 3, Vajramitra 7, Bhagavata 32, Devabhumi 10. Other Puranas agree that Pushyamitra, the commander of the army of Brihadratha Maurya, uprooted him but credit him with a rule of 36 years and not 60. Thus 10 Sunga kings are said to have ruled for 112. Satam Puranam Dasa Dvecha years in Brahmanda Purana 5.156a, but actually the total amounts to 142 years. Kanva dynasty. As the last Sunga king Devamitra was dissolute, his minister Vasudeva overthrew him and killed him. There were 5 kings in his dynasty as follows: Vasudeva 5, Bhumimitra 24, Narayana 12, Susarman 4. These Kanvayana kings ruled for 45 years. Andhra dynasty. Brahmanda, Bhagavat, Puranas agreed that there were 30 kings in this dynasty, but actually give only 16, 25, 23 and 24 names. The fullest list of 30 kings is in the Matsya Purana. Brahmanda Purana gives the rulers in this dynasty as follows: Sindhuka, Simuka 23, Krishna, brother of Sindhuka 10, Santakarni 56, Apolava 12, Patuman 24, Anishtakarma 25, Hala 1, 5 according to the text adopted in DKP 41, Pattalaka 5, Purishabhiru, Purikasena 21, Satakarani 1, Shiva Swati 28, Gautami Putra 21, Satakarani 1, Shivaswati 28, Gautami Putra 21, Yagnashri, Satakarani 29, Vijaya 6, Danda Sri Satakarna 3, Pulomavi 7. Brahmanda Purana states that the 30 kings of this dynasty will rule for 456 years. Samaha Satani Chadvari Panchasatsat Tathaivacha. Verse 170. The number of kings enumerated is 16, and the total years of their rule amounts to 262. The total span of these dynasties of Kali age is given as follows: 1050 years from the birth of Parikshit to the coronation of Mahapadma Nanda. The footnote says that means the Bharata war took place in the 15th century BC. 836 years from Mahapadma Nanda to the end of the Andhra dynasty. The period is restated with reference to Saptarshi era years. 814 years from Pratipa to Parikshit. 1050 years from Parikshit to Mahapadma Nanda. 836 years Mahapadma to the last of Andhras. Total 2700 years. Thus from Pratipa to the end of the Andhras comprised a complete cycle of the Saptarshi's great bear. Our Purana presents this much historical data from the beginning of the Kali age to the end of the Andhra dynasty. Other great dynasties like the solar race and the lunar race are not adequately treated. After the description of the Andhra dynasty, Brahmanda Purana enumerates some local dynasties with the total number of kings per dynasty. Number of kings in the dynasty, total number of years of the dynastic rule. Andhras, probably Andhra, Brityas, 300 years. Number of kings, 7 Andhras, probably Andhra, Brityas, 300 years. 10 Abhiras, 67 years. 7 Gardabhins, 72 years. 10 Shakas, 380 years. 8 Yavanas, 160 years. 14 Tusaras, 500 years. 13 Gurundas Mlechas, 300 years. 11 Mounas, 300 years. After these, Kila clan with rule, after whom Bindya Shakti, 300 AD, will rule for 96 years. Bindya Shakti, the founder of Vakataka dynasty, was a Brahmana of Vishnuvriddha Gotra. And 96 years is probably not the reign period but his lifespan. Bindya Shakti's son Pravira, that is Maharaja Pravarasena I, death circa AD 325, who is credited to have performed not only Vajapeya sacrifices but 4 Ashwamedhas. It shows that on the backdrop of Mleccha rule, he championed the cause of Brahmanism. The Naga dynasty of Vidisha. The Naga dynasty of Vidisha is recorded only in Brahmanda Purana and Vayu Purana but not in Matsya Purana. The following is the line of kings. Sadachandra, son of Sheshanaga, Chandramshu, Nakhavan, Dhanadharman, Bhutiman. Brahmanda Purana does not mention the Gupta dynasty. Brahmanda Purana 2.3.74.195, which corresponds to Vayu Purana 99.383, reads Sapta Vamsajaha instead of Gupta Vamsajaha as in Vayu Purana, the date of the Brahmanda Purana. Like the Mahabharata and other Puranas, Brahmanda Purana has assimilated a number of modifications, interpolations, etc. during the course of its transmission from the days of Krishna, Dvaipayana, Vyasa. We can fix the dates of the different parts of the text, the general date being that of its last redaction. Brahmanda Purana states that it was composed during the reign of Bharhadratha, King Senajit, 2.3.74.113, a contemporary of Paurava King Adhisima Krishna and King Divakara of Ayodhya. Adhisima Krishna was the fourth in descent from Parikshit. Brahmanda Purana states that a period of 1050 years elapsed from the birth of Parikshit, the Bharata war, to the coronation of Mahanada. Evid 5.227. The coronation of Mahapadma Nanda took place in 382 BC. This means the birth of Parikshit took place in 1432 BC. Pargitar's assumption of 950 BC as the date of the Bharata war, AI HT PP 179 to 183, is not acceptable in view of the unanimous tradition of the Puranas. The Vedic age P 273 accepts 1400 BC as the date of the Bharata war. Now, Adhisima Krishna was the fourth in descent from Parikshit. The footnote says, or in 1397 BC, if the reading in the Purana be taken as 1015 as is done in the Vedic age, P 273 S.K. Chatterjee, selected writings, P 140 Vikas Delhi 1978 locates Parikshit in the middle of the 10th century BC and Ray Chaudhary in 900 BC. Political history of India from the accession of Parikshit to the extinction of the Gupta dynasty, P 9. Parikshit to Janamejaya Satanika Ashwamedhadatta Adhisima Krishna. If 1432 BC be the date of the birth of Parikshit, a period of 100 or 125 years must have elapsed between Parikshit and Adhisima Krishna. Thus, the narration of Brahmanda Purana in the Naimisha forest in the reign of Bharadratha king Senajit took place circa 1300 BC according to the Brahmanda Purana. As a Purana is mentioned in the Atharva Veda 9.11.7.24, 15.6.10 to 15, and in Apastamba Dharma Sutra 1.6.19.13, 2.9.23.326, we need not doubt the existence of the nucleus of Brahmanda Purana in that early period. But the present text is definitely later both in language and contents, as can be seen from the following. The SK language of the text is much more modern than Atharva Veda and Apastamba Dharma Sutra, as the various etymologies noted in annotations show people have forgotten the root sense of the words. It means SK has ceased to be a language of Sanskrit, has ceased to be a language of common parlance. The list of future kings in Brahmanda Purana 2.3.74 describes the Andhra dynasty, 3rd cent AD. The evidence given by Pargidar in DK P53 is sufficient to show that Gupta dynasty is mentioned in Brahmanda Purana 2.3.74.195, though the printed edition records the reading Sapta Vamshajaha instead of Gupta Vamshajaha in the corresponding verse in Vayu Purana 99.383. The following verse is the verse in question. Brahmanda Purana 2.3.74.195 and Vayu Purana 99.383. The verse describes correctly the region ruled by Guptas, but now the mention of Guptas in Brahmanda Purana is accepted, and Pargitar's claim that contemporary dynasties of the early 4th century AD in Vayu Purana and Brahmanda Purana is not that controversial. The mention of Bhimasena and Narada on chapters on music shows that this portion may be located between 400 to 600 AD. The same applies to the mention of Vararuchi and Natya Shastra. Chapters on Parashurama legend show the strong influence of Radha Krishna cult in its tantric aspect. Wide Supra Tantrism in Brahmanda Purana. Tantrism was very popular between 8th to 11th century AD in East India, and it was during that period that Radha cult flourished in that region. Narada Purana 109.19 mentions the legend of Parashurama in its table of contents of Brahmanda Purana, but we cannot say definitely whether the anachronic Radha Krishna element is implied in Narada Purana, as Narada Purana itself contains the tantric worship etc. of Radha Krishna, chapters 80, 81 and 82. Brahmanda Purana might have these chapters even before the Narada Purana, and the Narada Purana may have presumed to imply the existence of these chapters before it. As most of the contents of Brahmanda Purana, except those on Lalita Mahatmya, are recorded in Narada Purana 109, Brahmanda Purana definitely belongs to the pre-Narada Purana period 700 to 1000 AD. The Javanese version of the Brahmanda Purana does not contain the chapter on Vamshanu Charita section of the Brahmanda Purana. Professor J. Gonda attributes this to the lack of interest of the Indonesian translator in Indian dynasties. But when the Indonesian translator summarizes and translates the major portion of the Brahmanda Purana, he would not have disregarded the Vamshanucharita portion had it existed in his Sanskrit manuscript. It must have been an incomplete copy which reached Indonesia in the early centuries of the Christian era. In spite of the interpolatory portion, the Brahmanda Purana is one of the oldest Puranas as it follows the old Chatushpada structure and its main body belongs to the pre-Narada Purana period, 700 to 1000 AD. Appendix to the Brahmanda Purana, some etymologies. The author of the Brahmanda Purana takes pleasure in etymologies just to serve his purpose and pleasure, although most of them are discussed in the annotations. Here are a few specimens. Nara, a man. Na plus root shra. Ambhas, butter. Root bha, tos hein. Rudra from root ru and root dru. Normally it is derived from root rud, to cry. Deva, root div, to play. Also root div, to shine, a god. Rakshas, a demon. Root raksha, to protect. Gandharva, root dhi, dhe, to drink. Pulaha, Kesar, lavai. Samudbhutaha, born of air. Vasishtha, possessor of Basu, wealth, or Vashi, self-controller. Medini, the earth. Medas, fat, overspread with the fat of Madhu and Kaitaba. Kuvera, ku, bad, plus Bera, body, ugly, deformed bodied, god of wealth. Hetu, root han, to kill. The argument, cause, the middle term in logic. Root he, to go, meaning arrived at. Charaka, a class of Brahmanas. Root char, performed atonement for gurus. Brahmahatya.